The next match we got is a bit of a tragic one. A matchup that was lost at the draft, and I'll tell you why. You see, there are some factions that rely on things like developing provinces, building an economy, having a stable and balanced roster, maybe a few magic shenanigans here and there. You know, sane ones. And then there are factions like Warriors of Chaos, to whom empire building consists of what I imagine stacking random stuff in designated places to please the voices in their head. It just so happens that those voices in their heads also conjure gold out of thin air. So, just like you may remember from my Warriors of Chaos guide, they do not play like normal races. They play in reverse, and in a way that strategically counters any kind of empire building faction. Now that doesn't mean they automatically win, oh no, not by a long shot, but they play in a way that lends itself to disrupting the traditional empire building. When we look at the list of empire building factions, we can see that Cathay is right on top of that list. In other words, we have a bunch of rice farmers against the forces of literal Satan, and Satan has the power of one day shipping to your doorstep. We begin our first session with the Cathay player having some decent expansion on Cathay, but sadly messing up their early game confederation. Bel'Akor, on the other hand, managed to pull basically one of the mathematically best Bel'Akor openers possible, with 9 fortresses by turn 13. I might be off a little bit, but that's what I'm counting. This is almost on track for the turn 20 speedrun benchmarks. Bel'Akor's forces land at Norden. I assume is to have quick access into Empire for sacking income and the 3 dark fortresses that are already in Empire. However, Bel'Akor already starts with a Portal Empire, so not too sure why. Regardless, both players are expanding reasonably well with no manuals, with Bel'Akor expanding noticeably faster on at least 3 continents. Session 2, the players play for 7 turns and Cathay manages to get their confederations, get over percent of the Cathay proper, and expand into the Mountains of Morn. This is a good attempt at catching up to Bel'Akor. Meanwhile, Bel'Akor decides to get about 7 more Dark Fortresses in 7 turns, and is basically speedrunning the Bel'Akor expansion. With all of Norska taken, half of South Wastes and Northern Wastes taken, it is absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, I wouldn't blame you for thinking Bel'Akor is cheating. But knowing Pret is one of the best labbers in the community, this is very much in line with the benchmarks that we see from the community. So it's not that he's cheating, it's that he's very, very good and very, very practiced. I should remind our viewers that these players are effectively playing a different game, for on the highest competitive level the expansion is literally pushed to its mathematical limits, for the sake of gaining an advantage over their competition. What you're seeing here is years of experience and months of preparation and labbing to optimize these openers. And we see fantastic work from both players, with once again Bel'Akor having the advantage thanks to the amount of Dark Fortresses they hold at the end of the session. I suspect we'll be seeing a Bel'Akor teleport into Cathay in a session or 2.